Very quickly today, our
I
conversations
would
are
actually like to share my screen. Sorry, Diolo, but it's not allowing me.
okay. I'll enable that right away.
Okay, cool.
All panelists, yeah, that's done. Okay, great. So I'd like to welcome everybody who is here today. We're talking about leadership, growing your leadership. We believe that leadership is something that we need to ensure that is very well developed, not only in leadership, not only in political leadership in Nigeria, but across board. And we believe by talking about it, we begin to at least expose ourselves to the best minds, the best corporate minds on leadership, to begin to understand what leadership is about, and how all of us can take responsibility from our own small spaces as well. So today we have the pleasure, and I think it's a pleasure. I've been trying to get the time for this for us to have Tolu with us here today, and I'm excited that she's here, and I'm excited to listen as well. So I'm going to introduce her to you. I know many people have been asking, about diversity and wanting a lady in leadership, and I'm happy that we have someone here today that is very, very, very much a leader and very well accomplished. So today, please welcome with me Tolu Adedeji. She has extensive experience in building brands and businesses. She has built brands from scratch to market leadership and has transformed brands from challengers to established brands. Over the course of her career, she has built brands across Africa. She's currently the marketing director of AB InBev, where she leads the marketing teams in Nigeria and Ghana. Some of the iconic brands she leads are Budweiser, Trophy, Hero, Club Beer, and Better Malt. She was appointed in November 2018. Before her current appointment as marketing director for AB InBev West Africa, Tolu served in various capacities through her 15 years career. She was brand commercial associate director of Procter & Gamble Nigeria. Preceding this, she was the brand and commercial leader of the P&G business in Ethiopia. Before this, she held various brand manager roles. Tolu's career started in finance for 4 years before joining marketing. In her days at Procter & Gamble, she worked on various brands such as Always, Pampers, Ariel, Gillette, and Oral-B in Nigeria. She also navigated these brands through a challenging macroeconomic recession in 2016. Her work extends beyond borders. She qualified Head and Shoulders launch for South Africa, Kenya, and Uganda, and led the startup of P&G brands into Ethiopia. Tolu holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration and from Babcock University, a Master's of Business Administration from Obafemi University, and a Master's of Science in International Management from the University of Liverpool, UK. She's a member of the Chartered Institute of Marketing, MCIM. Tolu is passionate about growing businesses, children literacy, female empowerment, and youth development. She established Mrs. CEO Niger, the social enterprise for similar causes. She authored Smart Sindara, an adventure series, a fiction book centered on self-confidence, leadership, and culture for African children. She's on the board of Caring Friends Foundation, NGO for children with special needs, and on the advisory board of Irede Foundation and more. Tolu is married with children and loves family time. She also loves to dance. So maybe tonight, before we call it quits, we're going to dance. I don't know. But I'd like you to please join me in welcoming Tolu Adedeji. And you can welcome her by just typing in that chat box, you're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome, as we take it over to you. Please, you can unmute and the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Can you guys hear me well? Let's just start with that, because that's the first question in every Zoom meeting.
Loud and clear.
Awesome. Let's hope it remains that way while we're here. It's a good thing to be with you guys. I've been looking forward to the session, and yes, we've been trying to find a date. So I'm so happy that finally we found one that works for everyone. It's good to be here, and good to see Diolo again. I've known Diolo for a long time. If I start to talk about how I know Diolo will not be here today. So it's always a pleasure to be with Diolo anytime. So I'm going to get straight to it. You're talking about leaders and energizing. I'm sure you've gone through the different elements of leadership. So I won't recap envisioning, engaging, executing, all that. So today, I guess I'm taking the second to the last piece of the puzzle, which is energizing, which is so important. I really like this topic actually, because I like to believe I'm a very energetic person overall. And I hope that translates to my leadership style, and we can share how that can happen for your own brands, also your businesses. I start with a quote. We have 40 minutes, right, Diolo? Just checking on time so I don't go into 5 hours. Just kidding. Okay. So a leader without followers is just taking a stroll. I really like this quote. I'm sure you've heard it before, but it's really so true. Most people think that leadership is about just being in the forefront, being the only one. But the truth is that that is really not what leadership is all about. If you're going on a walk, and there's nobody behind you, you're not really a leader, as you'll see in this slide. And I start with another question, which is, why do you think that many war or dance or soccer movies have those iconic, energetic scenes? I would like to have one person to try to answer that. Is it possible to get participation, Diolu?
It is, well, by typing easily. By talking, yes, you can, if they raise up their hands.
Okay, because I always like participation.
Yeah, we can get that.
If you can get a quick one to try to volunteer, that would be great. Anyone? Any takers? Why do you think all those, if you watch all those iconic movies, whether it's a soccer movie, this dance movie, a war scene, there's always this iconic place where the leader gives this speech, Why do you think those scenes are important? Is someone chatting?
Okay, so
I'm not sure. Okay,
yeah,
I'm just
gonna... Let me allow them to talk.
Is someone trying?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, I love that.
Diana, yeah, you can unmute.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yes, I can.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening, CM. Okay, so I think
Sorry, 1 second. I wanted to see if I can actually move her to panelist and allow her to be seen. Okay, go ahead. You can unmute and speak. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear. And if you want us to see you, we can see you as well.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Can you see me?
Not yet. But we can hear you, so you can go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so I was saying that in those movies, why we have the iconic figures that are so energized is to electrify the audience, to carry them along, to let them feel the energy. That's what I think. Because if that's not there, people will not be motivated, or people will not pay so much attention to what is going on.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Dan. Some of these questions, they don't really have a right or wrong answer. So that's your perspective, and I do believe it's correct. What I was also thinking about here, when I put this here, is that most times the leader cannot do it alone. So if you watch all those movies, and I love to learn from movies, by the way, the kind of movies that can teach. I love lots of autobiographies, kind of movies, those kind of movies, because there's so much to be learned from real life stories of people. If you check many of those movies, the leaders cannot do it alone. So yes, they need to electrify their followers. Imagine going to war alone. Like, you're going to lose the war, right? So in most cases, they're going for a competition, a championship somewhere, a battle somewhere. The leader by himself, no matter how talented, including myself, no matter how brilliant, no matter how experienced, you can't do it alone. Hence the reason to energize other people. Otherwise, you're just going to burn out. You can't really achieve any big dream. If you go check history, very few people manage to achieve any great success by themselves alone. So it's very important that the leader is able to energize the followers so that they can also buy into the vision. I've taken lots of inspiration from movies for this presentation, because I try to bring things to life in very simple, relatable examples that you can then take to your place of work. So it's, for me, as a leader, it starts with the vision. People don't just get behind you as a leader because of, okay, I like Tolu, or I like Diolu, or whatever, or I want to just go and achieve this task, just let's go and deliver the volume. But if you really want to get an army behind you, it needs to go beyond your task. It needs to go beyond your KPI. It needs to go beyond whatever, the salary, because all those things can be bought over, can be swapped. The one thing I really believe that really gets people energetic is the vision. So it starts first with the vision. If you've seen the slide I came from just now, and I'll recommend some movies as we go along just so you can find them. This movie is, I think, Facing the Giants. If you've not seen it, I highly recommend it. I watch it with my kids, with my family, with my husband. And this scene is so iconic. It's one of the scenes that I hope I never forget for the rest of my life, because I like to play back once in a while. If you go watch it, you see this is the coach, obviously the guy in the red cap was the coach in this movie, and this was a student that he needed him to do a full crawl walk across the pitch, and this guy didn't believe he could do it. And he said, if I could just take maybe the first 5 steps or the first 6 steps out of fine, carrying a full person on my back. And whether you believe it or not, this guy went all the way. Like if it's called 9 yards, I'm not sure, but he went all the way, like to the very end of the pitch. And when the guy removed his blindfold, he couldn't believe he had crossed the whole pitch. He just couldn't believe it. So the vision, this leader already had the vision that this guy can do it. He already saw him crossing that pitch. He already saw him at the finish line. He didn't see himself at the finish line. So he had to blindfold him to take away all distractions, to take away all the disbelief, so that I could really focus on his voice. I really recommend, even if you can't watch the whole film, just go and Google Facing the Giants, Dead Crossing, and you will see that. I'm talking about vision. If you've also seen The Braveheart, this is a very old movie. I think it's from the 90s or something. But this is also another iconic scene. I would like to play a clip for you so you get to see it. And then I can talk afterwards. So let's hope the sound works.
I think there's a way they share sound.
Can you hear the sound, Tolu?
Not at all.
Not at all. No. Oh, that's a shame, though.
Oh. Can you try and...
I don't know why. Let me see.
I think there's a place where they share sound these days.
Let me see. Okay, fine. I'll just voice over it anyway. So what you see on this screen, you can also watch it, or you can just look for Braveheart, the scene. This guy is a story of Scotland, I believe, the Scottish warrior. And they were going to go into war, I believe, with the English people. I'm not quite sure. It's a very old film. It's over 20 years, I think. So recalling from my memory, but I remember the scene very well. And it was trying to encourage, charge the men to go into a war. I'll just play it so you can see. It was trying to encourage the men to go into a war. And at the beginning, they were all discouraged, like, we don't want to die, we don't want to fight, we don't want any stress. And he saw the vision of, it's better for you to die as a free man than live as slaves. For me, that's the power of vision, right? Because I don't think anything is more scary than death. Like, tell someone that you're going to die. And by the end of the speech, they were all shouting, yeah, let's go and die. Like, what's more crazy than selling death to people? He sold it. He said it's better to die today, but we die as free men, than wake up the following day again as slaves. And that's the power of vision. And when he finished his speech, it was a short 1.5 minutes speech. They saw themselves as free men, and they were willing to do whatever it takes completely to get that vision, to get that vision. And they charged to war. Obviously, some died along the way, but many of them also survived, and he became an icon for it. So as a leader, this is also very important. The fact that you can't just, if you really want to energize your team, it starts with a vision. It starts with what's the big picture? What are you really trying to solve for? There's a project I'm about to work on with my team. And when I put the team together, the first project team meeting, I didn't just say, oh, this is the idea, let's go and do this. I painted the picture of the vision. I painted a picture that I believe that the way it inspires me, if I could just translate even just half of that to them, they will run with the project because they get why they are doing it. It's not just about give me this task tomorrow, give me this tomorrow, give me next week, you're not delivering this. When you paint the vision and people buy into the vision, then they carry the matter on their head by themselves and they run with it. So the very first step as a leader that would energize a team is really to define the vision and make sure your vision is something that energizes people, that people really buy into, not just your personal agenda, your own personal promotion mantra. People will not rally behind you. They will work for you because you're paying their salary, you're going to do their appraisal. But here we're talking about leaders that actually energize people behind them. Okay? So one thing again I would like to say before I get into the how to do it is people read what you do more than what you say as a leader. This is something that can be draining. You know, sometimes I'm going to work, I just have my own personal problems in life, you know, like any other person. But unfortunately or fortunately, I'm not allowed to let it show, at least not for long. Because people then look at you and say, Tolu is frowning today. Maybe they want to sack the office. You'll be wondering, when did I ever say that? When did they have that conversation? You don't need to have that conversation. You don't need to say it. All they have to do is look at you. Is she happy today? Is she frowning? Is she energetic? What's going on? Is the leadership looking stressed out? Is the leadership looking worried? Is the leadership... And people just read every single thing you do as a leader. So even for myself, as much as sometimes I get stressed out, just like any other person, I try my very best not to pass that on. One of my bosses used to say that, are you a shock absorber or are you a conduit that you pass all the stress of the world to your team? So as a leader, if you're going to energize your team, the first step is to, like you said, define the vision, right? But then also realize that people are watching you and the things that you do, they believe it's more than the things that you say. And the things that you don't even say, they believe it's more than the things that you say. So it's crazy. It's the whole package, guys. It's the whole package. There's nothing like I want to be a leader, but today I don't feel like being a leader. Or next week you switch off completely. Then you switch on, you know, the upper week. People read every single thing that you do. So I'm going to show you now. I called it five ways to energize. But by the time I was done, actually, it was more than 5. I believe I have 7 or 8 at the end. I was trying to keep it to 5, but it didn't work. So take the extra 2 or 3 as the bonus that you didn't pay for. So the first step I'll say here is choose your disciples.
Wow.
And I use the word disciple deliberately. I didn't say pick your team or pick your whatever. Disciples, that's exactly what it is. No religious bias here. It's just a word to make a point, right? So apologies if you feel it's a religious word. It's not being used in that context, right? It's about people that really buy into your vision. I've learned this as a leader. I've learned it the hard way because as leaders, sometimes we are weak, you know, and you also don't want to hurt people. You're being careful. But the truth is that you can't really run a big vision if the people behind you don't buy into that vision. And it's your job to understand those in your team that are not your disciples. And it's your job to ensure that you convert them to be your disciples or they leave your team. It's such a harsh reality, but it's a brutal truth because you can't achieve a big vision if within your own small team there are naysayers. Because already there are naysayers outside the team. That's normal. Already everybody outside is already a naysayer, most likely. So if you have a team of 4 or 5 or 10 or 12, say for example, you're the president of Nigeria or the governor of the state or the vice president of an association, of an estate or whatever, whoever you're trying to please or serve, your audience in a way is already divided. That's already sure. Everybody cannot see your vision and understand it, and that's fine. But those that will get to work with you on that journey, on that vision, on that objective, they need to be disciples. I'm not saying that there are people that will just, you know, suck up to you and not be able to tell you the truth or give you feedback. That's not the point. But they must be able to tell you the ideas that they have, you know, disagree to agree eventually, but they must be aligned to the culture of your team, of your business, to your goals. If they are not aligned, they have no business being in your team. If you really want to go for a vision, look at the video I showed you earlier of the war scene. Imagine if there were some soldiers there that were saying, we are not going, no, last class, we die here. No, they're not gonna achieve anything. It's better for those kind of soldiers to stay at home. And that's fine. That's okay. Not everybody has the stamina to go on some journeys or to go on some vision or some missions with you. That's fine. But within your own team, if you have a big goal, it's very important that that team buys into that goal. Not just buy into it, carry it on their head, you know, and they run with it. And when they have challenges, they come, they escalate, you know, they disagree, whatever, but they understand the big picture and they are aligned and committed to that big picture.
Mm.
And I put a picture here, which is the chain, right? You are only as strong as your weakest link. And this picture is so powerful because imagine if you have a very strong chain, very powerful, very strong, but just one of those circles that you see is disconnected or is loose. When you pull, what happens? It all falls apart, right? So no matter how strong you are as a leader, if there's a weak link in your team, someone that is a detractor, that's always pulling everybody back, you will not be able to energize the rest of that team. The more you energize the team, the more that one person, it's like take everything out again. It's like pour water in a leaky bucket. It keeps going out. It keeps going out. You can't get the team to rally behind this objective. So choose your disciple. It's very important. Mm-hmm. Number 2, role model. And I really like this picture, right? So if you want to be a leader that energizes, it can't be this kind of picture. Like the top, sit on the top there, be saying, you go there, you go there. No, that's not. It's lead from the front. You role model what you want to see in your team. You want your team to work hard, you work hard. You want your team to be disciplined, you be disciplined. You want your team to be positive, you be positive. You can't say me, I'll be negative, but you guys go ahead and be positive. It doesn't work. So you need to role model what you want in your team. Your team is a reflection of you, whether you like it or not. Your team is a reflection of you over time. This is a reflection of you. So you can't absorb yourself of that responsibility. Empathy, and I felt there was no need to put any picture here. Just a plain red slide with a white font crying out, begging for your empathy is exactly what the slide says. As leaders, and I'm personally, this is not one of my strengths, by the way, just in all full honesty. Sometimes you think, come on, this is not such a big deal. I can turn this around in 5 minutes, but maybe your team member cannot. Maybe it takes him 15 minutes. You need to have empathy to understand what are the issues your teams are going through, what are their barriers. For example, something that's not a problem for me. I don't have to drive myself now because I have a driver, for example. But some days, maybe my team members just went through 4 hours traffic, and they came to work at 9 or 10. And I've heard on the news, I've seen this, that everywhere is locked down. Some of them left their house by 4 o'clock. For Pete's sake, that 9 o'clock when they come in, then don't be a pain. Because you already had a very painful morning that you probably didn't have to go through. You probably came down from your car, your Jeep, your driver opened the door, if that's your story. Or maybe you even took an Uber. But someone else had to jump 5 bicycles before getting to the office. So those little things, just showing empathy. And for those that know, I'm a mom, I have 4 kids. And this is one thing I struggled with at the beginning when I started having females working in my team. I couldn't understand when they'll tell me, oh, I'm late because my daughter has to go for immunization, or I don't know what. I didn't, I still sleep well at night because I had to breastfeed. And I've been thinking, for God's sake, it's not as if I've not had a baby. So if you're telling this to a guy that's not a child, maybe you understand. And because I was benchmarking some females versus myself, which was totally wrong, because everybody's body is not the same. Everybody doesn't have the same support system that I have. Some people even have a baby and have post-maternal depression. So there are different things that you can't just look at people and judge them with your own standards or compare them with you. Yes, they can be inspired by you. Yes, you might inspire them and challenge them, but they are not you. And you cannot always compare people with yourself and expect them to fall exactly in line, and behave like you. So I spend time on this because it's such an important topic to people. And most times as leaders, we are not aware of them, including myself. I'm also as guilty, by the way. I can decide to sleep at 1 a.m. And by 7 o'clock, I'll be at the office. And I didn't know it was a big deal for someone said, but Tolu, it is not fair. Don't you sleep? Are you not tired? Because that person will work together till 1 and the person came to work by 9. And even though I didn't judge the person was feeling bad because I was there early. Just imagine this world. I didn't criticize. I didn't talk. I didn't judge you, but just because I showed up early, the person was upset and said, come on, now I feel like I'm not efficient. I feel like I'm not effective without me saying a word. So don't just underestimate the impact that empathy in your team and in your leadership style can play. So sometimes on my team, I tell them, guys, don't worry, you can do this on Monday. Just so that they feel okay, that it's okay not to send it to me on Saturday by 9 p.m. It's okay. I send an email on Friday, 8 p.m. I write there very clearly. feel free to respond on Monday. That's fine. Because without me saying that, then they feel the burden to reply Friday, 12 midnight, or Sunday, 8 a.m. And I didn't even ask them to. I didn't even have to ask them to, just them thinking it in their head. So going out of your way to empathize and show to the people that you actually do care will make them feel a lot more comfortable to be energized by you. Okay. Another movie I love, I think it's called Invictus, is if you've watched this film. It's a story of a movie Africa, I think is there. What's the thing, South Africa again? Is it cricket or something? It's not cricket. Cricket, yeah. So there's this sport. It's also a relatively old movie, but not too old. You can search it, Invictus. There's a story of how this Matt Damon, I think that's his name, led this team to win amazing tournaments. And they came from nowhere. Like they had no chance, zero. Like they were not even in the running at all. They had zero chance. And he did that by co-creating with them. When I say co-create, what do I mean? Everybody wants to feel as if they have something in their head. Like they are not dumb. They have ideas. They want to contribute, no matter how little they are. The same way I want my own bosses to feel that, you know what, I'm also smart. I have ideas. I have stuff to share. Listen to me. Take my ideas. So as a leader, it's very important that you don't come across as you are the only one that has all the answers. One of the things that I love about the company I work with right now, AB InBev, some of our principles is that we want to hire people that are better than we are. And that's something that really, really inspired me when I joined. Like, you know what, this is so true. Because now, after working for 16 years, I just want to relax and be taken care of. You know, I want to just relax a bit. And there's no way I can relax if my team is not better than I am. I'm going to end up being the one doing most of all the work. So it's very important that you hire people when you're choosing your disciples that are better than you, complement you, have skills that you don't have, so that you guys complement each other. There's no point you being the only one that knows everything in your team. I'm sorry, it's not right. You can't be the only one in your team that knows every single thing. Is it that you're really self-absorbed or your team is really bad? One of the two. Both of them need to be fixed. So in my team, I try to ensure that everybody's strength is leveraged. Some people are very good with digital, some people are very good with execution, some people are very good with energy, just like jumping all over the place and making everybody happy. I've identified that. So whenever we have projects, I try to look, when the team is very good at this thing that can complement, that can co-create this thing with us as leaders, then put them on the project. When people co-create stuff, they feel owners. They feel that it's their idea. And when something is their idea, they want it to work because they have skin in the game. It's not just what Oga told us to do. Like, I beg, it's madam's idea. Let's just go and do it, Jara. If it doesn't work, we'll say we've told her. But when it's their own idea, they want it to work more than you want it to work. That's why it's important that you co-create. Co-creating doesn't mean that you don't know your decision-making right. So I tell my team sometimes, I want to get your input. I'm going to make the decision. So don't get that twisted, but I want to get your input. And I really want to listen and understand so I can take your input in. Not just to say, okay, let's let them just talk. Let them just talk so that they can feel that they've contributed. People are not babies. They can see through that. So listening here is that you really listen to understand, to take ideas and to say, you know what, I agree on this one. Let's do it. I don't agree on this one, but you know what, you feel so strongly about this, so I'm willing to try. It's a small project anyway. I'm willing to risk it. Let's try it. Imagine you tell that to somebody that I don't agree on this your idea, but it's your idea. I'm willing to try. I'm willing to risk it. What do you think the person will do with that project? The person will do everything, whatever it takes to make that project succeed, because they want to show that the idea is great and the idea is also working. So co-creation is very important. You can also watch this film, Invictus. Thank me later. This is so important. Share the shine. Share the shine. This is so critical. I don't know how else to say it. Everybody wants to feel valued. Everybody wants to feel recognized and rewarded. Not just money, but sharing appreciation, thank you, recognizing people in front of other people. Even when they're not there, you say, oh, leadership, see this great idea from my team. This person was the one that brought the idea. Trust me, they're not in the room, but they hear the gist. I don't know how, but they hear the gist. that this person gave them the credit. There's a movie called, what's it called? Blades of Glory. Some of these movies, trust me, I don't watch that many movies, but the few ones I watch, when I see things that work, I just do Control S, store it in my brain, because they are lifelong lessons, right? So it's a movie about skaters, fire and ice. You can see from the costume which one is fire, which one is ice. And they were long-time rivals, like always competing. They went for a particular competition, and one of them won. I can't remember which one. And when they were presenting their awards, they got into a fight. Imagine right there on live TV. So they both got banned from competing in their sports as individual soloists. Guess what they did? Eventually, they came together to compete as a duo, because they were not banned against duo. They came as singles. And they were long like rivals, like really, really bad rivals. They had to work together. And when they learned to share the shine, when they learned to allow each other to shine and complement each other, they were unstoppable. So same for your team. Share the shine, share the reward. When good times are there, celebrate together, praise them. They'll go all the way for you and to be energized by that. Passion. I think I got my numbering wrong here. I moved the slides. So that's 4, 5, 6. Passion. Another movie I love so much. It's called 3 Idiots. If you've not seen it, I highly recommend this one. You've been watching movies all week long after this period. But trust me, they are good ones. Yeah. The movie I saw some years ago, so I said, you know what, this movie, I must never forget it. I showed my kids. It's called 3 Idiots. And passion here, if you watch the film, this guy was one miserable professor. You can see by the picture that he's a miserable professor, right? It's his image, his chest, very stiff, felt he knew everything in the world until they got to meet this guy in the middle. Amazing students, lifelong students, so much passion for learning, didn't care about the certificates, eventually changed the world. So as you can see, one of the things I really tried myself on is passion. I'm a very passionate person. Whatever I want to do, I give it 100%. If I won't give it 100%, I'm not doing it. I don't believe in lukewarm. It's either you're hot or you're cold in my books. It's just now I'm learning that life is not always like that. But historically, that's how I was. Like it's either it's black or it's white. Like it's on the slide. So passion makes a big difference. People would be energized by your passion for what you do. I love what I do. My job is not just a job for the salary. It's about the money. It's not enough. The stress is so much for the money. I won't lie. But the passion that I have for the brands and the vision that we have as a team for those brands inspires me, inspires the team, and makes them go the way for the brands that we work on. So passion in any leader is so important. People can see if you don't have passion for what you're doing. So I really encourage you, I challenge you today, if you don't have passion for what you're doing, I really encourage you to go and set yourself. Either you develop that passion, find a way to find your spark back, or you just change it, because whatever is what's doing for me is really what's doing well. So let your passion be so much that it oozes out of your ears. Like this, I always say, be on fire. Let people catch the fire or burn. It's one of the two. Like, be on fire. Let people catch your fire or burn. When you're on a project, people want to work on that project because of the energy, the passion that you yourself as a leader, you exude for your brand and for your business and for your people. But I tell my team the same. I push them hard on the work. They know. When it's also time for me to fight for my people, like I go all the way. It's both ways. The way you show passion for the business and for yourself, show it for your people also. Don't let it just stop at your own personal interests and your own personal goals and ambition. And last but not the least, I believe, be authentic as a leader. Be authentic. And I use Wakanda because I love this movie. If you've not seen Black Panther, where have you been? If you've seen it, watch it again. But watch it with discerning eyes to learn lessons, not just to do the action film and some assaulting, right? So as a leader, this is also not one of my greatest strengths when it comes to being vulnerable, and I'll get to that. Generally, I'm upbeat, fired up, always on the go, ready to move, whatever comes my way. Everybody's not like that. So who then look at you and say, it's not possible, you can't be real. You can't be real. There's no way you just be like this every day. Are you even a person? So it's very important that no matter how confident you are as a person, you need to show that you are vulnerable. And I'm learning that. I'm learning to be vulnerable. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you stupid. It just makes you relatable. Because if you're not vulnerable, people then start to think this person should just fake. but that's what you really are. But like, no, it's not possible. She's showing nice, all sorts of things as a leader that's getting away. You'll be shocked. Like, are you kidding me? But you're dealing with human beings, not robots. People want to also know that you have flesh, you have blood running in your veins. There are times I tell my team I'm tired, deliberately. I don't have to say it. But I'm tired. I want to rest this evening. So they can also feel okay to feel tired sometimes. It's very important. So confidence, yes, but learn to be vulnerable when it's necessary, when it's needed. Not to go crying in the office all around the place. That's not the point. But when things are tough, be okay to say, you know what, this is a tough business situation, but I believe we can handle it. You know, there's a crisis. There's no denying that, but I believe that we can overcome it. So learn to also show vulnerability as a leader. Be confident, be authentic, be yourself. You can't be more Michael Jackson than Michael Jackson. Like, forget it. Just be yourself. Don't try to say, you know what, Obama is my role model. Then you go to a room and start acting like Obama. Guys, this year, today, like, you're gonna be very fake, right? So whatever you are as a person, just try to amplify that and be yourself. Be confident. People can see when you're not confident in yourself. They won't follow you if you're not confident. Like, this guy that doesn't know what he's doing. I beg, but be vulnerable at the same time. So I believe I've covered all the points I wanted to share on how to energize your team, how to be an energizing leader. Your story is still unfolding. I always like this ending note. My story is still unfolding. I'm not a perfect leader. If you ask my teams, they'll tell you all sorts. But I believe you'll hear more good than evil. Be easy on yourself. Don't forget, I love acronyms. So I like to leave acronyms. CREXPA. This is a food I used to cram in school. You know us by acronyms. When you're in university, you cram your test with acronyms, ABC slash A. You know us already. So choose your disciples. That's the first C. Reward them, share the shine, show empathy, co-create with them. Don't let them feel like you're the only one that knows everything. It's madam's idea, it's uncle's idea, it's Oga's idea every time. Share the shine, be passionate, and be authentic. So those are the key points I have on how to be an energizing leader. And don't forget the foundation of everything. The very first thing we talked about is the vision. People are not just going to rally behind you based on your own KPI and your salary increase target you're chasing up and down. They are coming behind the vision. It's not about you. It's about that vision. It's not about you at all. It's about that vision that you've created, that you are following, that they are also following. When the vision is clear, they will follow you following the vision. When the vision is not clear, they're not going to follow you anywhere. So that's it from me. I know there might be a couple of questions. So I've left this 30 minutes so we can have a few minutes for questions or comments. Thank you.
Okie dokie. Thank you very much, Tolu. That was very good. We have our crack spot. We have our crack spot. So remember that. Okay, great. So to everybody in the house, you have questions. This is time to ask them. I can see some people are clapping already. Thank you very much. But you have questions, things you want clarity on, what wasn't very clear to you, how can you make it clearer? Remember, this is not a theoretical class for us to learn things for our brains. It's a practical class for us to learn the things that we will use, the things that we will implement in the course of our week, in the course of our lives, and with our teams. Okay, so what we have learned are the key things, the key elements that will help you energize your team. So please, let's fire down with our questions. I think it's important that we do that. I'm going to ask a question to start so that while people are warming up to get their questions, I can start asking mine.
Yes. So someone is asking the movie of the title of the movie about rivals. It's called Blades of Glory. I'm just typing it there.
Okay.
You can go watch it out. Yeah. So Diallo, please go ahead.
Blades of Glory. Okay, great. So there's a question here. It says somebody's asking. So before I ask mine as well, how can I communicate effectively with people as a leader in a team? Somebody's asking, how can he communicate effectively as a leader of his team? Any thoughts from you?
Yes, I can. So one thing I've learned with communication is one-on-ones. Most times people ask, depending on the culture where you work, especially, people are scared to tell the leader the truth. It's amazing. You call people for one-on-one 5 times. They will not tell you what the problem is. You leave the door, you hear that problem from outside. You'll be wondering, what the? You had a one-on-one with this guy. I called him, I said, what's up? They said nothing. Because of different reasons. One, they might be scared. Number two, they might feel that you're going to take it out on them. And many leaders do that, by the way, which is very, very weak. They feel that if they tell you the truth, it will affect their appraisal. Most leaders, including myself, nobody wants to hear the negatives. That's the truth. We prefer to just block it out. So you have to create an enabling environment where people feel free to give you honest, constructive feedback. And that you can only do not in a group session, in a one-on-one session. Not the first time, you have to build that relationship. So what I do with my team now deliberately, because I also need to work on this, is I've put as a mandatory one-on-one with everybody once a month. Because without that relationship, they're not going to tell you anything. They will just keep telling you what you want to hear. That's your next truth. Then you have to build trust with people. It's difficult to do. Trust is such a big issue. You might want to start with 1 or 2 people that have a lot of influence on the shop floor. Shop floor means like the streets of the office, like that really are connected. Not as spies, but as people that can really tell you the truth. People that people can go and meet and say, oh, Oga, I post tell Oga this one, or, you know, because some people, no matter what you do, they will never come out. They don't want to be known. They don't want to be seen as the one complaining. They don't want to be marked or labeled and witch-hunted. So you need to ensure that you try your best to build a relationship, but beyond that, have your feet, you know, on the ground and your ears to the ground with some people that you can really trust. And when people then also confide in you, don't betray that trust. Don't, because if you do, the next time you're not gonna hear anything. They're not gonna communicate. They're just gonna be looking at you like gorilla, as we say, like they're looking at you like goat head. They won't see a word, or they'll tell you what you want to hear, or even lie outrightly to you and make you feel good. So one-on-ones go a long way. Identify people that you can build trust with on the shop floor that can also help you. And when people give you something, don't betray that trust. It's very important because it's a two-way thing. It's a two-way thing.
Okay, thank you very much. Don't betray trust. Okay, very good. Somebody else is asking here, how long will you have to be patient if your team member is not fast in buying into your vision?
This one is a hard one. I tell you, one thing I've learned is eventually it's going to catch up. It depends. I would say, honestly, as a leader, it depends on how decisive you are, but I'll say maximum 1 year. Because some people, no matter what you do, they just will not get it. Just wasting your time. And the longer they stay in the team, the longer they'll be causing problem for the rest of the people that want to get it. So one thing I'll say though is do everything within your power first to earn their trust. You know, communicate, share the vision, one-on-ones, follow up. If they have some deep-seated issues, try to solve them. Because employees don't just complain for the sake of complaining. Most times the deep-seated issues, maybe you've not promoted them and they're due for a promotion, maybe their salary is small, maybe someone that just came is getting more visibility than they. So really listen, you know, and try to solve the problems that are there. But if after you've tried everything, brother, sister, you just have to make the call. Let them find their peace somewhere else, whether within the company or outside the company.
Okay, good. So, you know, depends on how it's being run. I hear 1 year is not a bad time. Are the external things that energize the leader are there external things that energize the leader aside of the vision?
For sure. Vision alone doesn't pay the bills. So for sure, money. Money goes a long way, depending on the kind of leader and the life stage of the leader. Do things you love. As a leader, personally, I love to dance. Like, if I don't dance, there's a problem. So I can't be more serious. Like if the president of the US, the former president of the US, Obama can dance, who am I? Who am I not to dance in public? So when it comes to music, I don't have shame. So once I get anywhere, the first thing you know is I like to dance. Any new company I join, I like to dance. So I'll do it with respect. But you have to do things that also make you happy. I love family time. You know, spending time with my family is very important because they're also the reason why I do what I do. You know, one of the reasons I do what I do. And find a support circle is very important. No matter how strong you are, even as a leader, there are times where you just like, you know what, I don't feel like going to work today. You know, and in those kind of days, there was people that you can trust, that you can call, and that is not your boss. That is not your team. As your support circle, maybe a close set of girlfriends or boyfriends, you know, your mom, your sibling, even your child could be, but you need that positive support system for yourself too as a person, a life coach, you know, a sponsor, a mentor. Those circles are very important.
Very good. Thank you very much. Someone is asking, how do you handle a talented team member, but easily get angry as a leader? So I think that, yeah.
Well, angry, everybody gets angry. It depends on how, like, if the person is outrightly offensive, that for me, I can't tolerate. There's no reason, no matter how talented you are, that you go about disrespecting people in the team. That's not acceptable by my own standards and by the company I work for. So if it's just angry for the sake of angry, whatever, you know, that's his own temperament. You're not a therapist. The best you can do is see a therapist, you know, but if it goes outrightly disrespecting people, that is not welcome in my own team. And I've seen a couple of times where someone in my team is rude to somebody. What I do is I pick up the phone and I call the person and give the person a feedback immediately. That happens when people are not there, and say, you can do better than this, you know. But with consistent feedback, if the person keeps doing it and is being rude to people and disrespecting them, they don't have a business being in your team. You need to decide if they fit within your team, no matter how the talent is. Because like I said at the beginning, you can't do it alone. That's one of the first few slides I shared. You can't do it alone as a leader. And nobody wants to work with a jerk. I don't want to work with a jerk. I don't want to be a jerk to people also. So the person needs to get the feedback with love, obviously positively. And after several rounds of feedback, it becomes an appraisal issue for me. Just as simple as that.
Clear enough. Someone is asking as well. Thank you very much. This is Supono Matthew. Mr. Lokwe, you made a wonderful point here. Please permit me to ask, as a leader, you give room to advice to your followers, and you did not get it on time. But unfortunately, after you have taken an action, they come up with a good point. What do you do? Can you undo the actions you took?
Well, the thing is, if you want to take ego aside, yes, you can. If someone in my team comes with a great idea a week after the deadline, but it's a great idea and we can still accommodate it, it's ego aside, like it doesn't matter, right? You take it on board. But if the project has passed that stage where you can realistically not adjust, then you can't adjust. The issue is, like you asked the question, a matter of ego. Yeah. Like, it came late. Should I still take it? That's ego. In a way, not to judge. You know, if and it's a great idea for the business, you still have to take it. We can give the person the feedback that next time, please deliver on the timeline. If the person is consistently late on timelines, then that's a performance issue, you know? So, but if someone brings a great idea to my team a week after and we can still accommodate it, then we'll step aside and take it on board. And it will get feedback for being late separately, you know, like there are two separate issues.
Yeah.
You
know? Cool. Okay, good. Someone is asking, is asking, how do you select an effective team? Keeping in mind different personality differences, introverts versus extroverts. Is it important? How important are team building activities, etc.?
It's so important. It's so important. Everybody in the team cannot be the same. Some people will be introverts, some people will be extroverts. For those that are introverts, I tell people in my team, it doesn't really help much, my own experience. So I feel it's something that we are all different, but you need to be aware of the kind of jobs that you do and how your personality can be a barrier to your development. Separate topic for another day. You can't say I'm introvert. I'm like nobody was born with speakers in your mouth, right? So I wasn't born an extrovert. I just learned to make myself more present when I need to over the years. I can't just keep, I'm introvert, I can't change. No. So, but that's a digression, by the way. So, yes, everybody in your team cannot be the same. Some will be loud, some will be on the down low. but you need to determine if their role, what they need for their role, and if there are gaps. And I have people in my team that have given feedback on, you're too quiet. I'm not saying make noise all around the place, but the kind of work you do as a marketing person, you're in charge of a brand. People feed from your energy. You go for press interviews, you go for events. You have to motivate your own team also. You can't just say, I want to be by myself in your own space. It's not going to work. So if you want that kind of thing, go and take another kind of job that will fit your personality more, or you have to make a constant effort to try to improve and grow. Why you can't change yourself, but if something is starting to affect your work and it's your personality, either you try to improve or you change that work. It's one of the two, So yes, your team would always be diverse. You pick your team based on the jobs to be done and the skills that they need for the job to be done. Virtue of their role, they need to be calm, more focused, more detailed. You pick someone that is very all over the place, doesn't know how to plan. It's not going to succeed. So try to look at what you need for the job beyond just technical skills and certificates and all. The profiling of the job, is very important. And in my team now, I look at people, I know this person cannot do this kind of role because I know their strengths and I know the opportunity areas, and I won't bother putting someone in a role that demands heavily something that they don't have. Like, what's the point of doing that? Why the person can actually thrive in something else? So you need to know how your team is made up so you can actually assign people to things that they are very good at naturally. You can challenge them with things that they are not very good at as an assignment, as a broadening thing, but people function the best when they're in their areas of strength. And I try to place my team accordingly and build on their strengths a lot more than on their weaknesses. So it's very important that your team has diversity of gender, of thoughts, of culture. That diversity makes you, if you harmonize it very well, work as a more effective team.
Okay, thank you very much. I think on point, your temperament doesn't need to be your crutch. You can rise, you can, is your starting point. You can work on it. Yeah. Modipa always asking as a leader, what can you say about playing favoritism within a team?
Very bad. Very, very bad. Just as simple as that. And I try to let my team know that I don't have any favorites. Because when people think that you're biased, then they don't feel that their work will be rewarded accordingly. They feel you're going to reward based on sentiment, and nobody's going to give their best. Both the person that you're favoriting to and the ones that you're not favoriting to, everybody's not going to give their best. So in my team, I let them know, I said, okay, this person I know, I've known him for 10 years, but he has no meaning and he knows it. If he doesn't perform, it goes on a PIP, and I mean it. So, and the person that knows me also knows I mean it. So it doesn't, you can be my friend, doesn't change anything, and I'll still give you a soft landing to say, oh boy, it's not working now. I can still help you, maybe not in this company. So, and they know that. So once they know that you try your best to be objective, no matter how objective we are, we all have biases. That's the truth. So when we are doing our appraisal, it's something I will call the bias training. So they remind us of the different kind of biases that are there that you might not even know that you have as a leader. And they try to remind you to take it off before the appraisal session. Some of us are biased towards females we like or we don't like. Some of us are biased towards people from our culture. All those things shouldn't get in the way of appraisal. It's not fair to people, and people can see it. And when they can see it, they don't trust you. It's part of the trust issues we talk about. They can't trust you because they'll think that no matter what I do, anyway, she's still going to promote this guy that is from his tribe or from his village before me. So what's the point? So it's very bad. As a leader, you have to be very self-aware to remove all these biases and all these sentiments as much as you can. And if sometimes you feel you're biased, you're not so sure, get a third party to confirm your bias. That what do you think? Am I being biased here? What do you think? And get a neutral person that you also trust, a leader like your peer or your boss, to also weigh in sometimes if you think you're being biased and you're not sure.
Awesome. Okay, so that's enlightening. Bias training. You need to find out your biases so that you can override them. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, great. Someone is asking here as well, how do you handle a staff that has strength and will to work, but not too competent in his duty? Can't take it on his own. It's
very
fine.
painful. I know this kind of, I know these people. It's very painful. So the thing with me is that what I am more biased towards your attitude, actually. than your competence. And I'm aware of that bias. If I see somebody trying his or her best 100%, I feel for them, like this person is trying. So you can't fault them on trying, you can't fault them on supporting you, you can't fault them on being a good fit in the team, you can't fault them on being a positive team member, but they just don't have the competence. So I'm invested in people like this. Actually, I try my best to help by putting priorities in place, putting a coach, putting a mentor. But then it's up to the person to show signs of growth and development and improvements. The person has to show, because even if you are today 10 over 20, but tomorrow you can show me that you're now 11.5, I can work with that as a leader personally. That's my own personal opinion. But if you're 10 and after 1 year you're still 10, I'm sorry. You're not growing, you're not developing, and you're a problem. So you just have to have an honest conversation to say, oh boy, oh girl, you're great. You're a great person. I love your personality. You're trying, but these are gaps you need to close. Honest opinion, what are we going to do to close these gaps? Do you have to take a training? Do you have to get a mentor? Do you have to take more projects? Do you have to work harder? These are things you're going to use to gauge that you're actually improving or you're not improving. So it has to be very clear. After 3 months, you've made progress, you've not made progress. After 1 year, you've made progress, you've not made progress. But as a leader, personally, I tend to lean to support this kind of people because I really feel that attitude goes a long way. That's why I said if you have someone that has competence but has attitude problems, it's not going to work for me, personally. I prefer to have someone that has the attitude and have the gaps of competence, honestly, than someone that has competence but have gaps with attitude. That's my bias.
Okay, so there's a question here that is brooding, and I think I'll just merge it with a question I wanted to ask as well. And it says he's asking how often should you reward your team members financially for jobs well done instead of other means of reward. And I think the question I'd like to add to that, as we bring this to a close today is, so you said share the shine. Sometimes that means recognize them, it means applaud them. What else can it mean? How do you share the shine in an environment where just merely recognizing and applauding people does not equate to shine?
Understand?
Yeah.
It's there's something called reward abuse also. When you reward people too much, it loses value. Like, is it more than an award? Is it more than a plaque that they are giving us? Yeah, la fair Jane. Is that what we're going to eat? I beg. So when you reward people, let it also be what's the word now? Let it be appropriate. Let it not be too often that it just doesn't have any value, becomes watered down. Everybody likes an applause. Yes, I know it might not pay the bills. I know that for sure. But when it's done appropriately, it goes a long way. It goes a long way for people. So ensure that those your applauses are not just every small thing. Now, well done. It loses value. You understand? And individuals also you have to understand people on a one-on-one basis to understand how they like to be rewarded. That's very important. It's not the same thing that works for everybody. Just like if you have kids, some kids you have to flog them. Some kids you don't need to flog them. It's a word, So take time to understand people in your team also to see what really motivates them. There are different types of rewards beyond money. There's trainings. You can send someone for a training abroad, another department. You can get someone to come and present to the leadership team and say, oh, recognition for this person. Promotion is a way of reward for good performance. More responsibility is a way of rewarding people for good performance. And yes, money. As I said also at the beginning, money is still part of it. You can't deny it, right? So salary increases, that's why salary increases are very important. How do you reward your teams on salary increases? In most organizations, they have salary curves. So top performance get the higher salary increase than average performance. That's a motivation. There's nothing wrong in that. Directors, we have bonuses, right? And that's a way to get your skin in the game. If the business does well, you get your bonus. If it doesn't do well, you get nothing. So like now there's COVID and all that, most directors are not going to get anything because businesses are probably suffering a bit right now, So money itself can be designed to reward people, but let it be in line with people's performance. Reward for performance, that's a key principle. Reward for performance, and let your reward be fair, not just reward based on bias or sentiment again. And let people be clear what they get when they deliver upfront. And don't make it too tricky. Many companies, if you get X times Y raised to power Z, divided by XYZ. People are even tired. Where's the money? At the end of the day, you get nothing. You just get calculation upon calculation when the whole thing is done, 5 naira. So just be very clear what your reward methodology is and the mechanism is, so people can be motivated by that.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Tolu. I think it's been exciting today. We've run over the runway and the questions are still popping in. I think we'll pause it at this junction. That's incentive and reward for asking your questions on time. So thank you very much. I think that's very memorable. We'll remember the movies and remember the lessons. We can tie it all the way from Braveheart to Facing the Giants to Blades of Glory to Invictus and what was the last one? I think
that's about it, I think.
Yeah, okay, that's about it. Okay, good. I don't know if you have any parting shots today before we close. It's like 1 minute to just part, and then
Yeah, I do actually. Is that leadership is not an easy journey. Most people really think is such a phenomenal concept, right? For me, after 16 years in this game, I'm still learning on leadership. I'm still reading books on leadership because situations change. There's something called situational leadership. You can also read that. Or situations change, organizations last year, for example. That's a different level of leadership required from me. So we need to keep learning. Let's be lifelong students of leadership. Let's keep taking time to invest in our people to understand how they would like to be led. There's no one template. Trust me. I've changed organizations and I'm learning. I'm like, God, it's still the same me. I've been a great leader all my life. What's happening now? Like, I'm having some rough edges. It's like, come on, this thing used to work 5 years ago, but these are different people, different culture. So don't let's be in a box that this is my leadership style. I cannot change. So this is who I am. No. If people are telling you, give you feedback, listen, evolve, become better, and that's the way you keep inspiring and energizing people for years to come.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Tolu. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay.
Night, everyone. Have a good evening.
Okay, good. So everybody, good night. Thank you. This is how we part tonight. Have a beautiful evening. It's Monday, and we'll have the rest of the week. So have a great time. The test. We usually do a test on this. Please expect the test. Yeah. So there's a quiz. Expect the quiz. We'll put it all together for the last few ones we've done, and then we'll see how it goes from there. Thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye. Get it. I'll put some music there as we close. Or maybe let me just see if we can close faster today. Well done, everybody.